What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. On today's video, I'm going to share another one of my crazy life stories. So this story stems from when I was a salesperson. Now, the state of Florida has a lot of laws that protects employees. And on today's video, you're going to learn about some of these laws. Florida has a law that if an employer fires you, they have to give you all the money that they owe you right then and there. So you're in Florida, you get fired, your boss says, hey, you're fired. Kate, fire me right now.
You're fired.
Then I have the right to say, okay, since you're firing me, you owe me $3,000. Every dollar that you owe me, you have to give it to me on the spot. So remember that law. Struggling. I had a job as a sales associate. Katie was working at a gym and a McDonald's. She had two jobs at the same time. You know what? When your grandpa passes, you're going to get a boatload of money. So why don't you just go take care of him, and I'll keep my sales job until your grandpa passes, because after her grandpa passed, there was no way we were going to keep living like that. I mean, she was working two jobs. My sales job was commission based, and my salary came out of my commission. So even if I wasn't making commission, I could still get a salary, which was horrendous, because you start a sales job the first 2 or 3 months, you're not getting paid. Then you get back pay with your new commissions for the time you weren't. It's a nightmare. It's almost a scam. And I had been working for this job for almost a year. It was a really hard job for me to get. I really appreciate that this company gave me the opportunity to learn so much. I think I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for the sales, analytical. I learned so much working for this company. I learned how to pull permits. I learned a lot. And I think that what I learned working for this company made me the person I am today, more educated, a much better, sales jobs are incredible for learning a lot. So I think it was a great learning experience. But the company I was working for was kind of setting up salespeople to where you get the job, you're not getting paid while you're working, because your salary, your weekly pay comes out of your commission. So you're always backtracking when you first start off as a salesperson. The first 3 to 4 months, you don't make a dollar. But I was at the point now where I've always been there almost a year. It gets to the point where me and Katie are just living this kind of really messed up life. Our house was in bad condition. When her grandpa passed, she got an inheritance, and I was driving her grandpa's Jaguar for a little bit. So her grandpa had this really beautiful Jaguar, and I started driving the Jaguar to work. After her grandpa passed, we were living at his house for a little bit because our house was so bad we didn't want to go back to it. So the estate let us stay at her grandpa's house for a little bit. So we're living in East Naples in this beautiful house. I mean, this house is like 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a pool and a gated golf course community. So we're living in this incredibly awesome house until the estate settled, driving grandpa's Jaguar. So I pull up to work, beautiful Jaguar, I park it in front of the store. The owner, who never walks in the morning, he's never there in the morning, comes up and he says, oh, I see that Jaguar. Is that your car? I was like, yeah. Because he has to go past my office to get to his office. So he sees the Jaguar in front of my office, and he says, is that your car, Jose? I was like, yeah. Katie's grandpa passed away, and he left us this Jaguar. And he goes, oh, well, I'm the owner of the company, and I don't have a Jaguar. I'm like, that's not my problem. Go buy one. And I like my job, and I'm going to keep my job because I like it. I don't want to quit my job. It's a nice job. But when we get this check for the estate, you're not going to disrespect me anymore. Okay? So I told the guy, I was like, hey, you've been talking to me disrespectfully. You've been treating me like I'm a piece of crap. When we get this money, I'll keep my job, but you're going to have to change the way you talk to me, because I don't need this job anymore. I have money now. I can start my own company. I don't need to be here. My wife already quit her job. She's not going to go back to working her jobs. we're gonna do something different. We're gonna start our own company. And I'm like, I'm good right here. I'm not gonna go anywhere. But your little disrespect has to stop right about now, because this guy is a habitual line stepper. You ever meet somebody who constantly just disrespects you and makes you feel like you're not worth anything? That's what this guy was. He's a habitual line stepper. You can tell your boss goodbye in a nice way. So he goes, I'm going to open up a new store in Miami. Why don't you run up over there and take care of that for me? And I was finally to the point where they owe me money. Like, I was now at the point where it was negative. Like, now he had to write me big checks because my sales had taken off really well. And I was having a little bit of trouble with the other salespeople because, like, let's say I got a sale, but my customer would have to come in 3 to 4 times for bringing in documents, papers, permits, all that. So you would work with other people's customers for like 5% of the process, But when other people's customers came in, they dealt with me. I treated them like humans because the other salespeople that were there were pretty much like typical used car salesmen. They all came from like that type of background, so they treated the customers bad. But me, I treated my customers like gold because I come from a background where I couldn't even get this job, okay? I didn't qualify for this job, basically. I just, they needed a salesperson, and I was willing to work for, like, I told the guy, I'll work for free if I have to. I basically muscled myself into a job that was out of my league, pulling permits with the county and all that. It was more than, it was out of my league. Now, even though it was out of my league academically, because I didn't even have high school, it was in my league within my capacities of knowing how to work a computer. And in fact, my permits were the best. Never had an issue with a permit. My customers were the most satisfied customers you ever find because I felt like this job was something so good. My previous jobs have been dishwashers, it's just crappy jobs. So now I'm sitting in front of a computer with my own desk. Of course, a lot of the people would come in and they'd see me and they'd be like, hey, can I work with you instead of my salesperson? And the other salespeople started to tell the boss that I was trying to steal their customers. But, like, it wasn't the case. Like, there was one customer who was the toughest customer we ever had in that office. This story gets better. I'm just giving you guys a lot of background. We'll get to the good part of the story. You guys know me. When I throw you guys a story, there's a plot and a twist at the end that makes it worthwhile. So if you're watching this video, I have to throw all this context before I get to the good stuff. But this customer had dealt with the other salesperson. This dude looked like Shumley. Remember Shumley, Katie? Mm-hmm. This guy looked like Shumley. He was overweight. He always wore a black t-shirt, beard. I mean, this guy literally looked like Shumley. Imagine walking into a sales office to buy something, and here's Shumley. Just a fat dude with a beard, dirty shirt. Like, this dude was never me. I even ordered. I had the company make me t-shirts. I would come in, like, I would dress better than the other salespeople. I would wear my jeans with my dress shirt, nice shoes, good presentation, good posture. Like, I took this job serious because I was like, yo, I'm working for commission now, so I'm gonna get paid based off of what I sell, not based off of what somebody else. Like, I felt like for the first time ever, I was getting paid for who I was. Like, I had never had a job where I was getting paid salary or whatever. I'm getting paid by what I do. And my boss was this dude from another country. He started from nothing in another country. So he says a rags to riches story. My boss was a rags to riches story. And so with a boss that was a rags to riches story, the sky's the limit, If I could get 100 contracts, I would get 100 commissions. Well, the other salespeople were they didn't care about their job. So there was this one customer who came in, and me and him actually became good friends. Now, these were the toughest customers that you could imagine. And they walk in, they're demanding, they ask a lot of questions. Even I was like, consider telling people to just leave. But I'm a salesperson, and if there's no other customer behind them, I can sit there and listen to this lady talk for like 2 hours. And while I'm doing my desk work, so I'm in front of my desk, I'm pulling my permits on my desk work, she's in front of me, we're talking, blah, blah, blah. It seemed like it was gonna go nowhere. Well, that sale, I called the guy, I said, hey bro, your customer's here. He's like, oh, I don't wanna know about that lady. I don't wanna see that lady again. You can keep her. Well, that lady goes on to be the biggest commission of the month because I didn't just sell her one product, I sold her two. And the dude actually owns a boxing studio in Fort Myers, and the dude is like, he's got pictures with like Mike Tyson, every boxer you could ever think of. Like, the dude was really cool, but he sent his wife to do the purchase because, and she wasn't very like she really, they didn't want to basically hand out their money. They wanted to sort but once I started working with them, like it was all up front. Up front, there's this huge package of informality. And once I got past all that, it was one of the best customers we ever had there. The dude, when I went to his house, so here's a customer that was a horrible customer. No, the other salesperson didn't want them. I went inside the dude's house. He showed me pictures of Mike Tyson, this, that. The dude knew every boxer you could think of. And we actually started a real friendship. I still follow the guy on Facebook. So anyways, the other salespeople were always accusing me of trying to take their customers, that I stole their customers, but everybody knew that wasn't the case. Regardless, there had started to be a little bit of jealousy, and I never had anything. So at this point in my life, I had never experienced jealousy because I didn't have anything. It was embarrassing how poor we were. So I had never had anything. I didn't know what jealousy was, but here's my boss who owns this company saying, oh, I'm the owner and I don't have a Jaguar. You know, that was kind of odd to me because I had never experienced that. Then I told him right when he came in, that boss, back to the boss, he walks in that day and I said, hey, I want to make an order for a $24,000 building. I want it to be like this and like that. And I gave him the plan, right? The work order. And I said, I want to get this, made. Can you give me a discount since I'm an employee? And it was like a $24,000 order. So what I was gonna do, and I never did this, but I owned a mobile home that was 12 by 56, and the whole mobile home was gutted. I had already gutted. I only left a bedroom in the back and a bathroom, and that was it. When you drove past our house, it looked like a mobile home, but there was nothing left. I had gutted the whole thing. My plan was to knock down the mobile home, and the next day or two have this structure come in that my company where I worked at built for me, and just have that structure put exactly where my mobile home was with the same dimensions, and now I had a new building, and I had done the cost, and it would have saved me $50,000, and then another $40,000 on permits, because in the county that I lived in, if I put in a new mobile home, it would have cost me, first of all, the mobile home company would have never brought out a new mobile home without a permit, but because it was pre-building code, I could have done anything to it without a permit, unless you're replacing the structure, and then you do have to get a permit. I wanted the company that I worked for to make a prefabricated building for me and just bring it on a trailer and drop it on my home site. It would have been two buildings that would have been connected. And it was like a $25,000 work order. I sent the work order in. I had the money in the bank, I think, at that point. I sent the work order in, and they didn't want to do it. The lady at the office was the first one. And she's like, this was a white lady who I absolutely hated. She was like very cared out. Like, she lived in Lehigh. I think her husband was a cop. That should just give you an idea of what type of person you're dealing with. Just one of these people that thinks like, total Karen. Her husband was a cop. She lived in Lehigh. Her whole life was complaining about how horrible her life was because she lived in Lehigh and how horrible her commute was to Lehigh. And I lived 5 minutes from work. So, it was one of those deals where, okay, I live right here. It's just one of those people, I didn't like her at all. And when she saw that work order with my name on it, she called me It's like, you're paying for this? I'm like, yeah, I'm putting it. Now, the boss was cool. Like, he's rags to riches, so he was like, whatever. I was like, yeah, I want to buy this structure. I'm putting in a work order. The money's in the bank. I wrote a check. And the lady was like, oh, I can't do this. I'm like, why not? Because you're an employee? I was like, what's that got to do with anything? Yeah, I'm just going to pass on this. So the lady at the office, and she was literally, now I had told her that Katie's grandpa was going to die and we're going to get inheritance. And there was, for this lady to hear that was like, it bothered her so much. And I had never ever dealt with jealousy. So this was a whole new thing to me. I didn't know what was going on with all these people flipping on me, but this lady hated me. She absolutely hated me. And she refused the work order. She said she's not going to do it because I'm an employee and it could have liabilities or something. She refused to take the work order. So I was already ticked at them, and I knew my time in this company was coming to an end. So I went to Miami because there were some perks to the job. They had to put me in a hotel. They had to pay me extra. So I went to Miami and I started to open the new store. So me and Katie were staying in Miami. Katie was with me the whole time. She wasn't technically supposed to be there, but we're in Miami opening a new store so I could do whatever I wanted. So me and Katie are working in Miami. The boss is paying for a hotel. We're driving around in a Jaguar. I'm opening a new company, teaching a salesperson everything that needs to know about the company and how to run it, because he was going to run the company. I'm doing good. I'm living life. But one day, we're in Miami, and the boss, I didn't like the hotel he had me in. It was kind of very dangerous and sketchy, and it was like an hour commute sometimes it was almost 2 hours. How much was it from Homestead to Miami?
2 hours.
2 hour commute, because he could have put me in a hotel right across from where I was working and it ended up being a 5-minute commute. He wouldn't pay, he was stingy, so I was having to drive all the way from Miami to Homestead every day because he would refuse to pay for the...
I believe it was like a $10 difference.
Yeah, he's just a stingy piece of... This guy, he's stingy. All right, he's stingy, right. So, anyways, everything was mounting up. But now, between what he had to pay me for opening the new office and my commissions, we had racked up like $7,000 that he owed me. And it's 5:15, right? Now, I close the office at 5. It takes 15 minutes. After I walk out of the office and turn the key, you had to lock the metal railings, lock the door, lock another door, and then on the outside, put the car out on US 1, and then you had to lock the sliding gates again. It took like 15 minutes to leave the work. It took 15 minutes to close the doors because you had like 20 gates to get inside one building, and the only thing that was inside the building was a desk and a $50 computer or something. It's not like there was anything in there worth stealing, but for some reason there was that much security. Now, at 5:15, I'm outside locking the gate, and he calls me, "Hey, Jose!" I'm driving, and I'm in the car. Me and Kate are driving. I'm not even listening to him. I'm just driving. He's on speakerphone. 45 minutes into the conversation. Now, the other salesperson was a train wreck. I told you guys the other salesperson was a complete train wreck. Shumley over there. So Shumley had done a horrendous thing that cost the company $15,000 in the negative. He thought that it was my customer, so he didn't look at the work order. He just assumed that it was my customer, because when I go to Miami to open a new store, the two other salespeople start telling the boss all these bad things about me, because again, they don't like that I'm doing better, that I'm coming up the ranks. They don't like that I'm coming up the ranks. So they're trying to hold me down by talking crap to him. So he assumed that this mistake was my mistake. I let him go for 45 minutes. Okay, bye. Yeah. I let him run for 45 minutes. And then I parked the car in a parking spot in front of a restaurant in Kendall. And I said, "Are you done?" "Yeah, is that it?" "Yeah, you finished?" said, okay, you're done. There's nothing else you want to say? No, that's it. I said, look at the work order. You have the work order in front of you? Yeah. Who's the salesperson? Oh, it's this guy. Oh, it's Shumley over there, ain't it? You know what this guy said to me? Listen to this. He calls me for 45 minutes on a rant. I let him go on his rant. I let him vent his anger and his frustration for 45 minutes. His reply, when I told him to look at the sales order and see who the salesperson was, his answer, what? Do you remember his answer, Katie?
I don't remember, but it was something ridiculous.
I'm still mad at you. Listen to this guy's answer. I'm still mad at you. This whole thing went the wrong direction, costing the company thousands of dollars in the negative. He calls me on a rant for 45 minutes about how everything went wrong at this job site today in Fort Myers. His answer was, I'm still mad at you. I just tell you what type of guy you're dealing with. Remember, I had told him that the disrespect had to stop. That was his answer. His answer was, I'm still mad at you. Why are you mad at me when it's not my customer? But I let him vent his frustration because I just felt he needed to vent. So I let him go on and on and on and on, and I didn't tell him anything. And I said, here's where he messed up, okay? And this is where things get, this is where the story gets interesting for real. He goes, well, I want you in my office tomorrow at 7 in the morning. Now listen to this. I have to leave Miami. It takes 2.5 hours to drive out of Miami during rush hour to get another 2.5 hours to Naples. But when I get to Naples, I have to do my laundry because I have been on the road for 5 or 6 days in Miami. Means I'm not going to get to sleep till 2 or 3 in the morning. And he knows that. He knows I'm in Miami, leaving Miami to go back to Naples. It would have taken me, I wouldn't be home till 11 o'clock at night. He goes, I want you here at 7 in the morning tomorrow. Now, I said to him, at 7 in the morning, I'm going to be at home making my wife. He goes, oh, what did you say to me? I can't believe what you just said to me. I don't think I heard you. Now, I don't know if this guy was on something because he was just angry and he was venting all his anger out on me for some reason. This guy was venting all his anger on me like I'm not your emotional support toy. I'm going to ask you again, and I want to hear what you said to me. Now, here's the difference, too. I'm going to stop the story right here. That's where the story really starts, right here. I'm going to stop you again. That's where the story really starts, but I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Now, when I told him that I was going to quit the job if he was disrespecting me, and this lady overheard part of this conversation where I told him, I don't have kids, I don't have a mortgage, I don't have a car note, I can quit this job whenever I want to. Now, I had said that too in front of that lady that was in the office because I knew she was starting to get jealous about me. So I told her too, I said, hey, I don't have a mortgage, and she had a mortgage. She's always, I got a mortgage to pay, I have a car loan to pay. My husband have to work. He's working for the Lee County Sheriff's Office. He's got to risk his life every day to pay the mortgage. So I would walk in there, I was like, hey, I ain't got a mortgage. I don't have a car payment. I don't have kids crying at home. Because the thing about this company that I realized is that all the employees that were there were being extorted by this guy, and they all had to put up with the owner because they had mortgages, they had rents to pay, and they had babies crying at home. So even though this guy was a jerk, everybody put up with him. But when I got in my position, I ain't got a mortgage. I ain't got a car loan. I ain't got no kids. I can tell this guy off in a heartbeat, okay? So remember that little detail. He goes now back to the conversation with him on the phone. What did you say to me? Because I don't think I heard you. I said, can you hear me loud? Can you hear me clearly? I can hear you now. Good, you sure? Yeah, I can hear you. Tomorrow at 7 in the morning, I'm going to be in my house, and I got elaborate. I want more elaborate than that. I got very elaborate into the lovemaking process with the manager of the company, or the owner of the company. I mean, I got elaborate in the detail because since he didn't hear me the first time, I just said I'm going to be at home making love to my wife at 7 in the morning tomorrow. I'm not going to be there at 9 in the morning. I'm not going to be there at 7. I'm scheduled to be there at 9. Just to be there at 9 was difficult. So since he didn't hear me the first time in the general context, I'm going to be making love to my wife, I decided to become a little bit more elaborate with exactly what I was going to be doing with my wife at 7 in the morning. And this guy exploded. I mean, he was already exploding, but like, he was like, all you could hear on the phone was him huffing into the phone, like this guy, like, I'm sure his head blew off and there was like parts of it splattering on the roof of his car. He exploded. And he says, you better get out of my office right now, because I'm going to call the cops on you. And I said, I'm the only person who has the key to that building, and I'm not there anymore. You're telling me that you want me to drive all the way back to the office, wait for the other salesperson to come back to give him the key so that the cops can be there waiting for me because I don't have the right to be in that building? Is that what you're trying to tell me is going to happen now? Because he doesn't get the picture. This guy never got the picture. He lost his best salesperson that he would have ever got because he simply couldn't get the picture that he had to respect me. Okay, so I call, it was late in the day, but I called the office. And there was a guy at the office that was below him. And I said, hey, what's up, buddy? You good? Yeah, I'm good. What's going on? And I said, hey, listen, I want you to, you're in front of your computer, right? He's like, yeah, I'm in front of the computer. I said, Google this place real quick for me. He's like, okay. He gets in front of the computer. He goes, where are you? I'm in front of a law office. So I parked my car in front of a law office, and I could see the name of the law office. I'm in front of this law office. You see the name of the law office? He's like, yeah, I'm here right now. Okay. I said, you see the name of the office? Look it up. You found it? Yeah, it's a lawyer in Miami, right across from the new office that we opened. I said, okay. And what does this guy do? He's like, oh, he's a employee rights lawyer or something like that. I said, okay. So I'm here right now in front of you. You want me to send you a picture? No, I believe you, bro. I know you're there. What's going on, man? I said, okay, look. I said, Big Boss fired me. Okay. Now, you guys owe me how much money? He goes, oh, $7,000 or something. It was a big paycheck. I said, in the past, when they fire the salespeople, they had the tendency of not giving them the commission. So they owed me $7,000, but until these sales are finalized, they can't write me the check. So because of that, this guy couldn't fire me on the spot. He wanted to fire me on the spot, but I got permits that I'm pulling with different counties, sales contracts that the only person the customers have seen in that company is me. So here's like $150,000 in the air, and I'm the face for all these contracts, permits that are being pulled, a lot. And then to get that money, there's still a whole lot left to do. And I said, look, in the past, when you fire your salesperson, you don't give them their commissions. Now, he did this. I've seen this happen. So this boss, he had the tendency of, he didn't let his salespeople stay too long because once he owed them $10,000 or $12,000, he fired them. Okay? Now, there was a difference that when he hired me, I was a nobody. And that was part of his plan, that when he fired me, I would leave without trying to sue him and I would take it because poor people take losses like that. But now here's the problem: is that I have a lot of money now. I can pay for lawyers and stuff. And this guy, I called him because I knew he was cool. He was different. He was a good guy. And I said, look, he owes me $7,000 something. He can't fire me. And I had looked up a state statute already. And I told him, look up the state statute. I texted him the statute. I said, look up the state statute. And the state statute, it's a Florida state statute that says, if you fire an employee, you have to give them every dollar you owe them the same day. Listen to this. You have to give your employee, if you have an employee right now, you fire them, every penny that you owe them, they have to give it to you. So if you live in the state of Florida and your boss fires you, they have to have your final paycheck right there ready to go. And until they give you that final paycheck, so what happens is, let's say you work for a company now, and you're fired. I'm going to send you your paycheck Friday. Well, Friday never comes. So they made a law in Florida that says if somebody fires you, they have to give you your money right then and there. So I said, just look at the state statute. What's it say? It says that if we fire you, we have to give you all the money you owe me. So I said, where's my money? Where's my check? Well, I don't have, he's like, he gave me his word, and I didn't believe him because I knew the boss. Jose, I got you. Don't worry about this. I'm going to take care of this for you. He hung up. Now, I had no faith that in my mind, he was going to keep $7,000 or $8,000 of my money. There's no way that this guy was going to give me this money. I didn't believe him. And he said, he called the cops and he says I couldn't be back on any of the property premises. So he's the one that's violating a state statute. He's violating a state statute because I'm an employee until he gets me that paycheck. Now, the kid that I talked to on the phone, I explained all that to him. I sent him emails with the state statutes, with this and that. He understood the legalities of the situation. He got together with the girl from Lehigh and said, hey, this is what's up. Give him a paycheck. So I come back from Miami the next morning. He calls me early, says, come over here to the office. And I was like, you sure? Because he said I couldn't be there. No, come over to the office, no problem. I walk into the office. The lady's there with a long face, gives me a piece of paper. I open it up, and it was the biggest paycheck I had ever got from that company. It was every dollar they owed me, plus the whole Miami trip, plus a little bonus, just so that I get out of here bonus, basically. But every other salesperson before me, when they got fired, he did that to them. They put you in a position where now you're making more money. Now, because you're making more money, they feel that they can exploit you more because you're getting paid more. And that's not how life works. And I don't really resent working for this company because I learned so much. Like, I literally, by being, I learned like how to use computers, how to send emails. Was the most uppity person you could think of. But when you sent her an email, there couldn't be an extra word. There couldn't be a word missing. It was revision, client 1-2, Jose. On this date, we pulled this permit. Here's the revision for it. Everything had to be to the T. And that was one skill that I learned with that job, that before working there, I didn't know how to send an email. Now I send somebody an email and I get respect. Because if I send you an email and I don't know how to write an email, I look like an idiot. But this lady, her requirements for emails and stuff taught me how to present something professional. I mean, you're pulling permits with the county, and these people at the county always have a stick up their CERTA. So, you're not just going to, you can't be unprofessional when you're dealing with the county. So I learned a lot with this job. I don't resent working there. But the purpose of this story is to tell you guys that, know your rights. Because a lot of people that were salespeople before me at that company walked away from $7,000 to $10,000 checks because they didn't know what to do. I literally told the boss that I would be at home making love to the wife in detail. That's not the vocabulary that I used, but I disrespected him, and I don't think any of his employees would have ever disrespected him because they couldn't, you know. And that's the difference between being poor and having money. When you have money, I think is it Jeff Bezos that has the saying to find themselves, find yourself money, FU money, find yourself. You know, when you get some find yourself money, then you can tell your boss to go that you're going to be at home making love instead of at the office the next day. And that's the story of how I quit my job, and how, despite the fact the owner had stolen money from all the other salespersons when they got fired, he wasn't able to do it to me because I knew first that you couldn't talk to him. There was no talking sense into him, but I called one of his more intelligent employees, and I explained it to their employees that were more intelligent. And when I walked in to get the office from Long-Faced Lehigh lady, she couldn't believe, you know, that I actually, you know, I was like, hey, have a beautiful day, you know, and I drove off in Grandpa's Jaguar. But it was weird because, you know, I had never experienced jealousy, and, you know, having a little bit of money will change your life. And if you get money, it's going to change the people around you, because a lot of those people, they don't want to see you having things they can't have. That's the story. I hope you guys liked it. And yeah, I told the boss straight up, tomorrow at 7 in the morning,